Okay, y'all. So this is part 2 from the Divine Masculine downloads. However, this part, I don't know if I want to call it Divine Masculine downloads. It just so happened to be that when I was channeling Divine Masculine energies, these were coming through. But it definitely pertains to both men and women. And it doesn't feel like it has a specific masculine or feminine role to it. It's just more on a collective level. So I'm going to say like collective channeling, right? Greetings to everyone that's coming in. For whatever reason, it's not really telling me who's coming in. But anyways, if you can hear me, please put in the comments below that you can hear me so I can keep going. I definitely want to bring in these messages, and so I just want to get straight into it as well. A lot of it did have to do with temptations. It had to do with distractions. Okay, you hear us. Hi, Kyra. Great. You hear me. Great. Okay. So, from like this week in particular is a good time to do a lot of journaling and focus on what it is that you do want. Right now, what Source is asking the collective is, what do you want? The reason why that has to be the big key of focus is because we have a lot of transits that are pushing us through this portal into the timeline in which we want to access for our reality, but closest to our North Node. And usually our North Node is things that is new to us. We may resist it at times because it's new to us, and we get comfortable with what it is that we already know, right? And so it's going to require change. However, temptations. This is going to come in many different forms from many different people, which is why, yes, when I was doing the Divine Masculine channeling, temptation was coming through. But again, it didn't feel like it's just particular to the Divine Masculine's energy. I feel like this is in general, and so I'm gonna generalize this live here. I'm not gonna put it as part 2, but anyways, temptation is going to be at a high right now. I was kind of getting the quote of like, and I might be butchering it, but like, don't mess up. Don't mess up what you know is long term don't mess up what you know is for a long time, for a good time, right? There may be temptations coming to challenge you to see if you really have matured in certain areas in your life, as well as to not just check your maturity, that's a big part of it, but also to see if you really want what it is that you say that you want. Which is why, again, Source's question to the collective is, what is it that you want? What is it that you really want at this time? And so another thing that I was getting, and this could be for a few of you, is, needing to say goodbye, and you may be grieving. And, during this grieving process, remember your why as to why you are doing what you're doing to move forward. What is it that you want, and why do you want it? Focus on your why. And that it is okay to take your time while you are grieving. And it is necessary, especially during this week. There's going to be a lot of healing codes for those of you that are grieving. And so I don't know if that's going to be another live or not. Excuse me. But I was picking that up of like, a lot of healing mandalas, just healing in general when it comes down to grievance, and knowing that there's a lot of sacred healers holding space for those that are grieving at this time. And to focus on your why. Your why is what is going to push you forward, so that you don't get distracted, like you don't allow yourself to get into a space of depression. It's normal to grieve, but depression is not so normal. And so just to stay in a higher vibration. And so I think it's 432 to 432 hertz and 528 hertz were the ones that was coming through, to listen to at your time when you feel like the lowest, just to kind of listen to those frequencies to bring your vibration up. Also, this might be another live. I said this about a year ago, but it's coming through again, and it's coming through now. There has been, because of the hertz, because of all the ascensions that have happened, the chakras are no longer like vibrating at the same frequency in which they once were. And so you could, like, for example, I think, and I might butcher, damn, it's been so long, but like, if 432 or 423, I think it's 432. If 432 hertz was for the solar plexus, then that's now for the sacral, and 528 will be for the solar plexus, and so on and so forth. That has been for a while. I think I even said that even before. I think I said that in like 2018. 2019, 2020, around there. Can't quite remember what year it was that I picked that up, but it's coming up here and now again. And so perhaps maybe that's something to think about when you're doing chakra healing, to put like the, one way that we also can connect and communicate with certain chakras, hello, greetings, is by tapping into the chakra below it and the chakra above it, to kind of get it into a harmonious frequency for those two, to support the communication that's happening with the chakra of focus. Okay, so I'm talking about chakras. So a lot of healing happening for the collective. Temptation can look like in the form of maybe like food, right, being a temptation. Other people, right? Perhaps, maybe your relationship is being tested at this time, and maybe somebody comes in to tempt as a form of temptation to see where you're really standing in that relationship. So that, focusing on your why will help you move forward as to what results it is that you want in your relationship. If you are easily led into that, like if it's a relationship and you're easily led into the temptation, then it's time to say goodbye to that relationship that you're in and focus on yourself. Or this could also be that perhaps there's like, some attention issues or codependency stuff that needs to be worked on, and essentially you need to go within, and so the temptations came to challenge that, to provoke, right? This could also be like maybe you're fasting, and some people come with like your favorite foods, or I mentioned about fasting from like smoking, and so maybe the temptation of smoking a cigarette. Maybe people come around you and they're smoking cigarettes, and you're like, hold on, I'm not trying to smoke right now. Another thing to go hand in hand with the temptation is the distractions, right? And so it can be like maybe you're fasting, and it's trying to, not only are you getting tempted with the cigarettes, but you're getting pulled into certain situations that might test your maturity and your emotional intelligence. as a form to distract you from your purpose, your mission, and also tempt you into, like, maybe it's provoking you. What's a good example of that? All right, a good example of that is perhaps you're fasting from smoking, and you usually rely on smoking when you're feeling anxiety or you're feeling stress, or just maybe after you eat or whatever. And you get into a situation where somebody ends up like drama comes around you in the forefront, and it's triggering your emotional it's triggering your emotions. So that way, it's to tempt you to smoke at a time of like stress, knowing that you are fasting from smoking. And in that case, the distraction is there to lead you to the temptation and to derail you from your purpose of accomplishing that which you have put in the forefront for yourself, for perhaps good health, good wealth, purification, or whatever the case may be. And so especially healing of the heart, I believe. Yeah, there's a lot of higher chakra activations. I definitely picked up the Vihistara and the Ajna, which is the throat chakra, and the people who say the third eye, I like to say the first eye, chakras, and higher. But this is to actually like connect you with your crown, your casual, and your star chakras, and higher. So yeah, a lot of messages. This will be a great time. Also, I believe there's a transit going on with like Saturn, and Saturn is in Pisces. And so I don't recall what's the transit, but this is also why the tests are coming through for the disciplines. Are you disciplined enough to focus on your why? There's also like part of the distraction is like maybe you are getting some upgrades and your body is calling you to get some rest. And, part of the distraction is work, right? And you may be a person who's hyper independent, and you wanting to like do everything on your own, and it's really a distraction from you to be disconnected to what your body needs at this time. And so focusing on balancing that out, and focusing on why is it important for you to get grounded into your body, because sometimes the brain is going to want to keep on going, and your body has some healing to do, has some upgrades to integrate within its being. This could also be that perhaps a lot of dream work is happening for the collective, and some of these temptations these temptations are happening to provoke. They're happening to provoke, but you have to know what is it provoking? Why is it provoking? It's stimulating what emotion, what organ, and there's also going to be, besides the grievance part, this can be that people are going to be leaving your life, which is why maybe the distractions coming in, to like maybe you're starting to reconnect with healthier people that are part of your North Node journey. And again, the North Node is a little bit uncomfortable. It's the stuff that you maybe it can be a little bit fearful, right? And so these temptations can challenge you to stay in your comfort zone rather than feeling the fear and doing it anyway, right? I'll be honest, like me and technology, we have a unique relationship, and my North Node is in Aquarius, and so I know that a lot of the work that I do is it's also gonna be with technology, through technology, as in me channeling. And as old school as I am, right, I could want to write all day, but some people need to hear it or see it. And so it requires me to come online a little bit more, right? That's just an example. That's not the wholeness of like a North Node in Aquarius, right? But a way that, you know, can be a form of a distraction is perhaps I have a message to give out to the masses, and, you know, all these other things are happening in life to kind of distract me so that I don't get the message out to the collective when it is important for the message to come out. I know I had to balance out getting some rest. I don't normally nap like that, but I needed a nap. And I woke up like, you know, this afternoon pretty much. And I was like, wow, like my body really needed that. But part of that could also be like our temptation of like, does your body need exercise? And you're just tempted to rest because you don't want to get out the bed. And, you know, so it's going to really require you to use your discernment to know. Because that might be the case for some of you too. I know for me it's been a balance of like needing to exercise and then needing to rest, and knowing when to do what. Again, focusing on your why and your purpose. Like, what is it that you want? What is it that you want to step into moving forward? This is what's going to allow for you to walk through that portal unscathed is kind of the word I want to use. Also, I was picking up the numbers 7 earlier, and after I got off the live, it was just kind of resonating with me of like the 7 heavens are which is why I guess the chakras coming up, but also the head, right, and the North Node. And so, you know, the shadow side of the 7 is the dragon's head being cut off, which is why there is the distractions and the temptations, because they're trying to cut off the head of the dragon so that way the dragon isn't focused on moving forward. The dragon being you at this point of the analogy, right? Or metaphor. The other part is, you know, the dragon being in its higher frequency and moving through the North Node, seeing things clearly with through the crown chakra, bringing forth that information from the higher chakras into the crown and into the rest of the body. And so, yeah, a lot of chakra healing happening, DNA codes. The distractions could also come in the form of, you know, I kind of feel like, you know, some people like Kyra, I know you're here and you were talking about the distractions was coming in the form of your body. And I just think that that's part of the healing that needs to happen. Whereas the distraction could have been you needing to like overwork when it's time to get into some deeper healings, because you have some deeper light codes to bring into the collective. And so don't be hard on yourself if you kind of feel like you can't see things moving forward for a little bit. That is okay. That you're gonna kind of feel that energy in the collective where like, you know, you're moving forward and you know you're getting these light codes, but it's kind of a little bit unsure of like, am I seeing things? Am I going through things? That's okay. You will, especially the 3rd and the 4th is the dates that I'm getting. No worries, sis. And yes, you Shamanic Sage will be joining us in a little bit, because she has some messages coming in about to the collective as well in regards to distractions. And so we did have several more M-class flares also, which can affect the body. And yes, thank you for bringing in the flares, I was talking about sun gazing and the codes, and so it's interesting that you're bringing in like the Schumann resonance with the solar flares, because I believe there's certain transits in Leo going on right now. And I mentioned how Venus was getting ready to go into Leo. And so that those codes were going to be important for this summertime specifically, while Venus is in Leo for about like 3 months during this summer. However, it's more than that. It's more to that. And so, yeah, I would say if you are a Leo, if you are a Pisces, any fixed sign, so Aquarius, Leo, Taurus especially. So I would say prioritize if you know your chart, right? For any of you that's into the astrology and you know your chart, I would say look at where Taurus is at in your chart. Yes, so light codes, integration, and upgrades. Updates. Absolutely. Which is why it's important to know when your body needs rest to bring the healing. And also, you mentioned affecting the body. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you have back pains. I mentioned the heart also and the pancreas, but body aches in particular. And now the heart is making sense because of the Leo energy. Now that I'm, this is why sometimes I get downloads, but, it takes time for me to even integrate the information of these downloads and sit and process the information before integration. So that way I can understand what information is coming through and use my discernment to clear out any distortion or anything that may not necessarily pertain to me specifically, but that was just for the collective, for others as well, although I am part of the collective as well. And so Spirit has a funny way of talking to everyone in the room, right? And so back aches, body aches, I would say drink lots of water. I'm hearing kidneys, so maybe perhaps, some of y'all watch out for like kidney stones. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water. I'm trying to, what zodiac is with the kidneys? Trying to remember. Well, I usually, anytime I think of twos, I think of like Libra energy. Also, I know Libra is the lungs. Gemini is the lungs. But I think of anything that has to do with two and balancing that out. I think of Libra energy as well for balancing out the scale with that. But yeah, so just watching what your body is telling you and the healing of that, and taking your time to allow the healing to occur. And so that may be that maybe you just need a day of rest, and then the other days you feel better, right? If a particular organ is talking to you, every organ is associated with a spiritual meaning and an emotional meaning, and everything happens in the spirit realm before it happens in the physical realm. Also, with the distractions and the temptations, some of the distractions can come in the form of spiritual attacks. Okay, and so just being mindful of fortifying your mind, you mind over matter, right? The universe is mind. And so just really being in tune with what your body is educating you with, because perhaps you don't know that you are holding on to resentment. You don't know that you are holding on to anger and frustration. And so it's definitely a time of purging those addictions, saying goodbye to those addictions, just fasting in general, 1 day at a time. But if you can do within the next 3 days, this is really going to bring you into a space that by the end of the summer you're going to be at a higher frequency. And so I keep saying at the end of the summer, right? Even with the Divine Masculine Collective reading. Oh my God. Let me hurry. You pressing my buttons. Lord have mercy. Yes. Cancer and Scorpio. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. So thank you. Going back into the signs. So the fixed signs. Boom. Taurus. Look at your Taurus placements. Taurus, sun, moon, or rising, and any placements that Taurus is in your chart is going to have a big impact, especially with Jupiter in Taurus. So looking at that, right? Leo, there's a lot of placements with Leo happening, and we're also going to have Venus going into Leo even before Taurus, the North Node shifts into Aries, because that's going to happen at a later date, and we'll get there when we get there. I just kind of want to focus on this week right now and what is happening in the collective and what I'm getting as a channel, right? So Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. Okay, those are the fixed signs. So if you are any of those signs, and I believe there's a square or a trend, something going on with Pluto Friday or Saturday. Again, I haven't really looked at the charts like that, so please, do your own research with that too. I will take some time to go into the charts and study them some more. I haven't, and that, again, distractions, right? But I really also wanted to get these messages out there. So when I had the opportunity is when I came on here to give y'all the messages, right? And then also if you have Capricorn placements, because of Saturn playing a role in the sky, that's going to be important as well. Pisces, because of the addictions, and Neptune, the illusions and everything going on. Cancer, because these transits are connected to the moon. Sagittarius, because of Jupiter and the moon. The moon is going to be in the sign of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. All right. Sagittarius may not feel it as strong as those other signs that I have mentioned prior, but nonetheless, it is important. Scorpio and Pisces believe our kidney. Okay. And so I mentioned the fixed sign and Pisces. I know like that also, like the liver, addictions and whatnot. I meant to bring my water. And drink your water through fruits. Or eat your water, right? That's some coconut water with some pineapples. Yeah, hydration check. I need some water. All right, y'all. I feel like I gave a lot of the information out. The spiritual attacks, this may happen in the dream realm. This could also happen in the form of the distractions. And so just being mindful of that. There's going to be a strong distraction of neediness from wanting to, needing to integrate the energies. Like, the thing about things are going to kind of feel a little bit slow paced because Taurus moves in a slow pace. So if you're wanting to rush this process, don't rush the process. Your healing is your healing. Your journey is your journey. And probably some of this shit is trying to tell you to sit down and fucking let the universe work with you, but you got to work with the universe too, right? Faith without works is dead. And so, yeah, have faith, put in the work, but also allow the universe to work in the timing that it needs to do. And which is why I guess I mentioned about, the universe is going to be testing control issues. But of course, manage your energy accordingly. Yeah. So, you know, some of y'all may be waking up with like bruises or scratches and you don't know how, or you might have like certain joints, triggered, right? Because Capricorn is like the knees, is the joints, is the bones. Well, Aquarius is more the joints, and then Capricorn is the bones, but nonetheless, they're both ruled by Saturn, right? And so, again, if you have like scoliosis or any like body RA, arthritis, rheumatoid, any of those types of things, just be gentle with your body at this time. These solar flares, yes, where we were being called to sun gaze to get these light codes, but it's going to trigger certain body aches as well, and this is for the healing. And so this is why it's important to get the rest that you need to get and not be distracted by outside circumstances that may try to get your attention more than your body, because you have prioritized that more than yourself, right? So minding your priorities. Yo, Sage, where you at? Are you there? Because I want to make sure I'm not like overextending, but that the message is coming out clear. And then, so body aches, there we go. Because I feel like you definitely, it was something, there we go.
Hey. All right. Haven't even had the water yet. There you go. You got my water. Good.
I don't got water.
What's that? Coconut water and pineapples. All right. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close the door because I know me. All right, I was kind of listening, and closing the shop and everything, but we want to talk about, I know the channel, what I got today was, I'm talking all stops pulled out distraction. Like all the stops were pulled out. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to share. I am happy to share. Just I'll let you know what happened to me and what I know it is, and how you would deal with something like that. So you can hear me okay? Okay. So early this morning, because you like to wake up early, get your downloads. I could already tell that in the peace and quiet and stillness of my protected area, the space that I hold for myself, it's very calm. It was exactly the way I wanted it. But I literally felt like I could hear beating on my walls. Like I felt like it wasn't happenstance. It wasn't accidental. It wasn't like, oh, this random disturbance. No, this was like, we're coming to get you. And I'm just like, oh, really? Okay.
Very specific.
Yeah. So
very specific. Yeah.
Bet. But Lord, I did not know. But just in my experience, it started off as little irritants. Like you start on early and then out of nowhere for no reason in this timeless place, 15 minutes is gone and now your kids are late to school, and it's just like, how we started 45 minutes early and okay, all right, bet. And then you get them to school and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go and go in my shop, do my thing. No. It's like, no, you're gonna go get this, no, you're gonna go get that. And so you surrender to it because there are things that need to happen. But what I noticed is every place I went, not only did I get the next dose of distraction, it was just piling it on. I literally saw everybody that my eyes met, I saw them basically being distracted themselves, but almost with chaotic energy. They were desperately trying not to fall behind. The cashier said it out of her mouth. She was just like, there's no time. If I don't do this real fast, then it's just going to be more backlog for me. you know, and she was frantic about it. And I'm trying to keep my spirit, I won't say trying, I'm keeping my spirit balanced because I'm observing it, but also being impacted by it. And then I would have said I was successful up until the last attack. And the last attack came, it's because I'm telling you, all the stops being pulled out is what this is about. It knew that if nothing else worked, this would work. And it's a call from the school. It was something pleasant. It was a great thing, you know? But what it did was tell me that I was not, in fact, going to be the person in my shop building the abundance today. I have to go to the school and do this other thing, this activity at 1 p.m. in the afternoon during any parent's workday. You know what I'm saying? A festival. And yeah, and it was great. And you love spending the time because it's not about, and I want to say this for the parents, really, it is not about you not wanting to do blah, blah, blah for or with your kids. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that your kids are your blood and they are very good distraction to use. If you want to get there, that's a really easy way to do it. So when I chose to surrender to that, because sometimes you have to surrender to your distraction.
That was like the temptation mixed with the distraction of what I was talking about earlier.
Okay. Yeah, because you look at your choices.
The attacks coming in the form of distractions, and I mentioned like even like work or like things that like necessities. It's like your necessities coming in as a form of distraction when you are supposed to be doing something else.
That is exactly what it is. Like, because I think when we say distraction, or when the word distraction is said, going back to we have to look again at verbiage, and is that definition really how we need to be thinking about it today? Mm-hmm. Distraction, it doesn't mean bad. It doesn't inherently mean anything. It just means that I'm doing this, but I'm aware of that, and I may or may not have to make a decision about splitting my time or shifting my time, you know? When it comes to family and employment and those root chakra things, you just have to make calculated decisions. That's it. You're still living. You have to decide at this point in time, the way things stand in this now moment, what am I going to do with the information that I have in front of me? And for me, I chose hands down, if you're going to use my daughter as a distraction, you don't win this round. I choose to do this. You still have your power. Don't surrender your power just because you're distracted. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to spend this time with my daughter. Matter of fact, I'm going to drag my son into it too, and we're going to do a family thing, you know? And you take your power back. And when you do that, I'm telling you, this huge distraction that you thought it was ended up being 1 hour and 15 minutes. You know? I mean, when you really get in there and go, okay, this is what it is. This is fitting in the day. And this is how I'm going to maneuver everything else around it. Like, if you have to pull that piece in and make it a part of your day, and we loosely call it distraction, if you're going to have to do that, change the verbiage. You get to do that. I get to have one more thing to balance today. And I'm
can you talk about the pulling part just a little bit with that, if you don't mind? I'm sorry, you just triggered a key thing that's going to be part of the temptation, and the temptation being part of the distraction. And it's the pulling, right? And keeping your power.
Yeah.
Can you touch on that a little bit more for those that may don't quite understand, what do you mean by it pulling on you, but you staying in your power and not surrendering to it and then navigating through that? Can you talk about, because there's going to be energies trying to pull on you, and you want to navigate yourself accordingly with these next couple days. So can you touch on that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, in general, the way you become aware of a distraction is, I'm going to say, some energies, I want to say, pull on you. You know, it could be a call, it could be an email, it could be anything. It could be somebody walking up to you. But when you are, and you're thinking about, I'm trying to set up visually. Think about your journey as going forward, not going side to side or backwards. You are trying to go, forward and up. You're elevating. Anything that seeks to pull you off of where you're going, you can call that cleanly a distraction. Because remember, we're not qualifying it saying, oh, it's good or bad. No, all I'm saying is I have my day lined up, or I have this now moment. I know what this now moment is, and something has come to me, and it could be aggressive, like I'm pretty aggressive today, but something's coming and it's challenging your time. It's challenging how you chose to use your time today. It's pulling on your free will at the end of the day. I'm going to do this. Oh, well, this is blah, blah, blah school. And we have a question. This is what's going on. Can you come up here? Schools are a good one. Schools and hospitals, I'm telling you. So yeah, if you feel that you are being pulled one way or another, and it's going to affect your ability to literally do what you had planned to do, that is your opportunity, and you have to use it. You've got to take a second to go, wait, because I literally had to, even on the phone, go, what does that mean to my day? Really? What just changed? What just got upset? And if you're a very logical person and you're trying to take what I'm saying and make it turn into nuts and bolts, let's talk time. You've got an 8-hour workday, let's say, let's call it full time. You got an 8-hour workday, and you manage your time. So what all you can get done in that day. But you just got a call saying you've got to literally leave work and go do something for someone else, not for you, for someone else. It has to happen. So what are you going to choose to do to accomplish the critical things that have to happen? Like, I'm just being nuts and bolts with it. There are things that honestly can and should happen in these now moments. And there are things that are nice to have happen in these now moments. You may need to shift some of that stuff to a different time or space, is all I'm saying. You may have to shift. I call it in 3D adulting. You're going to have to adult. But at the end of the day, your choices, again, you don't get out of them. These cards are clear. Choices.
So how would you pull in the reality or timeline that you want to navigate in, rather than giving to keep your power, pretty much, as opposed to just like, there's going to be moments where, yes, surrendering in that and just navigating as best as you could in that surrenderance. But if you're in a space where you're able to acknowledge that these are distractions trying to pull at your energy, how do you pull in the reality in which you want to? Is it by, setting those healthy boundaries? Do you then say, wait, I identified this for what it is, and I choose to rewrite this program, and I'm calling in this and this timeline? Because that's kind of what I feel like is the big thing with this portal, with the North Node, where we're going. Yeah. And so that's part of the distraction, wants you to get pulled in to those realities.
Right.
So how will you pull into the reality that you want?
Okay. I do believe this is an area where, if you don't feel like this is a strong area for you, you're going to have to, go back to school a little bit. You're going to have to learn the different ways, different modalities to manifest at the end of the day. For me, the first thing I typically do is I say take assessment. But again, guys, I'm an analyst to my bones. So I'm going in Lean Six Sigma process improvement. So my whole life and everybody that touches it is part of my process improvement. You have to know what you're dealing with. If you don't know, then you have to be okay with learning on the fly. Mm-hmm. But remember that your thoughts and your words, you can manifest with those. So before you, and whatever it is you don't want, don't think it or speak it, or you're going to invite that to be the catalyst for the distraction to really take hold. So for me, I'm going to look at it and see what it appears to be. And I look for cracks. I am the one that is always looking for glitches and cracks in the matrix. Not to exploit them. I don't like that word, but I like to use all my resources. So if I see something that doesn't look like it's going to move and I know what I need to do, I am going to literally speak into existence what I need to happen. I mean, it could be as simple as I'm going to pick up this phone and I'm going to make this call and it is going to be this. It clearly is not going to be this. And just speak it more times than not. For me, that's kind of all that needs to happen. Because at the end of the day, things are connected in logical ways in the universe. Things are connected in ways that do make sense. We may not understand them because think about it. We only use like of our brain, but it does make sense. We may not understand, but I'm going to, I so want to say this in a way that just gives you your power, like now. You are every bit as powerful as the energies that are seeking to disrupt you. And you have to remember that. Oftentimes you can flip the script on the damn thing. And now you're in your power, and what sought to disrupt you is now scrambling or running away. And
do you have an idea? I'm sorry. Do you have an idea as to why the distractions? Because I know you were being pulled into so many different directions with the distractions, and we kind of spoke about it already, but I kind of want to shut up and let you go back into the distraction things and the downloads and everything. So putting it back in there.
Okay, so remembering that right now, the vibe is what? It is, you really, at the end of the day, you want to be in your power so you can make the right choices so that you can, at minimum, manifest the abundance that is all up in this energy wave, all up in it. If you're distracted, you simply cannot do that. So if forces are trying to, I would say, suppress the ability to build this abundance because an overabundant population has a lot of individual power, and that's threatening. That's threatening to powers that be that want to.
Would you say emotion can be a distraction? Like if somebody's getting caught up with an emotion?
Yeah, that's the relationship crap we talked about 2 days ago. Not crap, but I mean, if you're so focused on the girl or guy that isn't giving you attention and you want to go and manifest some relationship, if all of your in the love abundance basket, you're not looking at health and wealth. You know what I'm saying? You're not looking at the other areas. And whatever it is that you're really, really looking at, the best way to disturb you is to keep you looking at it and make you try to fix something over there. Something working, and when you're so focused on that, you're not seeing all the stuff around you that's also moving, and those energies, basically, it starts to feel like it's surrounding you. I call it chaos, because it's like everywhere you look, it all looks like this type of distraction. If you find yourself in a place where everything feels like distraction, just know you're really far in it. You're going to have to now back up and understand. I don't want to say how you got there, but I want to say understand how you got there and then understand how you get out of there.
Or at least understand the fact that you're in it. Like if you can't figure out how you got there, just being able to acknowledge that you're there. Like, wait a minute, hold up. I don't know how I got here, but I know that I'm here.
Right.
So how do I get out? And obviously knowing how you got there is definitely a good tool, but always not getting caught up in the past also, because the past has already happened, but getting present to be able to
with
move forward.
only your present is going to, your vehicle out is in your present. It's not in your past. Past is you. That's why I say you can only rehearse your past, but so much, your
Mhm.
vehicle is in the present. And that's why you have to, that's what discernment is. That's why discernment is one of the best tools to be working on right now. If it's not a good one for you, like if you can't ascertain or discern your, what is going on around you right now, practice that. you know you're gonna get the ooh, you're gonna get there, but you're not gonna get there without practicing. And Angie, what I was gonna say though, hold on, I don't want to lose it. Okay, nuts and bolts. So when you think of the word choices, the different choices that you can make, think of your choice as your jump off point. This is how, for me, this is how you approach these different timelines. The choice I make on how I handle the very first thing in front of me. Okay, I get this rogue phone call. It's telling me I got to do something different. I'm going to give my attention to the call, but not in a way that someone's telling me what's going to happen to me. No, you give me the information. I'm going to chew on that information and decide what that information means to me and what I'm going to do about it. And that's when I flip that conversation on whoever's on the other end and go, okay, based on what you said, this is what I need to happen. And that's actually our conversation, not what I'm going to do for you. I'm sorry, you called me. What are you going to do for me? I'm sure we have a vested interest in this going a way that's good for both of us, both of our companies, both of our situations, dot, dot, dot.
Win-win situations.
Hmm?
Win-win situations.
Exactly. Yeah. And it has to be, and there's your power right there. If it's a win-win, you stayed in your power. If it's a win-lose, you didn't stay in that power, and now you just have to cycle back to get it back. But the answer isn't to walk away and leave your power. Like, and you will get better and better at it as you continue to stand up for yourself, show up for yourself, and use your words as if they are as powerful as you know they are. Seriously. But this whole jumping and people like, oh, but I don't see. Well, how do I know when to hop? Where's the conveyor belt? No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Your decisions are what are going to catapult you across these timelines, and for some of us, we can go beyond that decision and kind of orchestrate things as we approach that timeline, and things will kind of fall down in its place. It could be a little, ooh, to talk about, but that's, like just talking to, newbies, if they fall on this, like, what, I can't see.
So would
yeah.
you say that you neutralize some of the distraction by making it a win-win situation for you moving forward?
I when the word neutralize, I would say I neutralize the distraction by whatever it is, whatever has presented it, I make it explain itself. You tell me exactly what this is that I'm facing so I can make the best decision. For me, that's really how I can tell it's a distraction. Oftentimes, there's a little stumbling over what it is. I'm like, well, if it's that big a deal, why are you having
Like a
trouble
little
talking?
confusion.
Yeah. Because when it's something legit and something that is for you, you'll notice it's very fluid, especially if it's a conversation. Whether it's whether you like it or not, it is a fluid conversation. But if it's distraction for distraction's sake, if it's there to uproot you, when you start to question it, it will start to unravel. And if you're good, you can unravel that whole thing. And there you go. It's a mirage. You lift the veil, it's not there. Like, I'm trying to think, like someone calls and says, you have to do this certain thing, or you owe this amount of money, or you something didn't happen. And you're like, what? I know I did, blah, 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 blah. And you question it and you're like, no. And you might even find out it's just a freaking spam call. I mean, it's just not legit. But you don't know that if you don't question it and call it out on the carpet and make it hold its space the same way you're expected to hold yours. And because you're left alone, you're not a distraction. You can be used as distraction, but in your how do I want to say this? When you've claimed your power, you stand for something and you got work to do. You don't have time to distract. That's not what you're trying to do. So in reality, the distraction, it shows itself. It shows itself, and what we're to do is to get better at identifying it and do it sooner, so we're not as impacted by it. It's going to happen. Stuff happens. How you attack it, how you turn it to your good, that's all you. And sometimes you can't do it right away. Sometimes you go through hell, but in the end, 11 years later, it's flipped to your good. Sometimes it's 2 weeks later, but I'm in the camp where I like to obliterate distractions and I like fires. So if I can light it and it'll go, like that's what I'm going to want to do. But sometimes it does take time.
And sometimes, I'm sorry, sometimes with the distractions too is like, because we're in a purging space of like, it's both simultaneously, right? Like we're purging, but we're also creating at the same time. Like the way I see what's going on in like the cosmos. Oh, sugar snaps. What happened? She just left. She'll be back. It's like this, like ovulating. Yes. So like the skies is ovulating and the masculine is fertilizing, right? Fertilizing this creative force, this creative energies. And at the same time, it's already been done, right? It's already been fertilized. It's already been delivered, and everything like that. But we're still in the process of it. And parts of that is like, knowing how to identify where you're at in your story. Sugar snaps. Oh, sugar snails.
Oh, you was a sugar snaps.
Yeah, sugar snaps. That's my word. I know. Anyway, yeah. But distractions, right? When I'm trying to get a message out, here we go. Distractions to the silliness.
In and out of
and getting back into it. There's going to be people that we are going to be disconnecting from because they're no longer of resonance to where it is that we have to go in accordance to our North Node. And how do we allow ourselves to know the difference? Because it's not that it's bad, it's not that it's good, but being able to identify the distraction. Well, the distraction brings a little bit of confusion. It's going to bring confusion. It's not going to bring the clarity, because God wants to bring clarity. It may not always be smooth sailing, right? Like how you was talking about the fluidity, like that's an aspect of it, but we have to remember the North Node brings us uncomfortability. So it doesn't feel smooth. It doesn't feel safe all the time. It feels like you have to take a risk. It feels like you have to go into the unknown because you don't know it. You haven't done it. Your soul wants you to explore it. You've already done such and such for such a long time already. You know that. That is fluid to you. That is easy to you. And so don't allow the distraction. Sometimes the distraction is the comfortability in that. Or I feel comfortable with such and such individual, right? But these people over here make me feel uncomfortable because now I have to vocalize my skills and, network with these people and show myself out and stuff. And that might be a little bit intimidating. It might be a little bit uncomfortable.
True.
But these people also over here aren't expanding you at this point in time. And that is okay. Just don't get sucked in or pulled in to the distraction. go to where you know you're supposed to go. If you know you're supposed to go in that room and network with people, well, then you go on and you be like a big bad Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, because today Spider-Man came out also, right?
Oh
Spider-Man
no,
came out. Talk
I don't do
about
that.
distractions, right? Talk about distractions. They want everybody to go to the movies to feed that illusion, and instead of allowing us to create our own Maya, allowing us to weave our own webs and
Girl,
timelines. Exactly. You know, I was like, because I found a mask. Oh, it was a Spider-Man mask. And I was like, oh, you playing with me for real? You gonna play with me for real? I'm gonna put on the mask. So I put on the mask. It's not always about wearing the mask. It's what you do behind the
behind it.
mask. It's what you do with wearing the mask. And then sometimes it's time to just drop that fucking mask, right? But sometimes you do need to wear the mask in order to go into a certain space. And what I mean by that is
Girl,
not fake it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying absolutely. I mean, you think about it. If you are, I'll say it both ways. If you are we're a being of light. We know the energy we bring. Everybody's got a light and dark side. Also, if you think you are going to get 100% of your work done using one frequency, that makes no sense whatsoever. I know that if I'm dealing with a very charismatic, cunning person, I need to come not just with my A game, but also knowing how they are and have the ability to upset that. And you can't upset it with, sugar. I mean, you
Sugar
can't
snap.
upset, you can't, I mean, you have to think about it, guys. Like, if I have a pocket full of, let's see, why am I not gonna? I'm
Sunshine. You
gonna have to do
have a
it.
pocket full of sunshine.
Whatever. No, have the pocket. I was gonna say a pocket full of blueberries. I don't know why, and I couldn't get another berry. I'm like, all right, fine, blueberry.
Okay.
But you got a pocket full of blueberries, and you just hand it to someone like you're gonna use that as currency to pay. No, they don't want blueberries. They want your cash. Like you gotta
But
go.
what if they need the healing of the blueberries?
Oh,
What
look.
if what
Well,
if
if they want the
you're like,
blueberries,
oh,
they can
they
take
want
them.
the cash, but what they really need. See, there's a difference between want and need, and this is what the distractions
And
are here to
preparedness to
teach us.
receive it, though. You might not be prepared to receive it.
And that's fine. So not the distractions, I'm sorry, the lessons behind the distractions, right? Because the distractions could be money when you need to be focusing on health or something, or perhaps maybe you haven't balanced out your play and your work at things, and so maybe you've been a workaholic and you need time to actually rejuvenate your soul and your spirit with your inner child, right? For everyone it's different, right? For someone, maybe they might be focusing on money, but they might have a thyroid issue or something that's going on, and so yeah, they might need those blueberries. They might need those blueberries, or maybe they just need the antioxidants, or there's some other things. And so they're saying here, distracted about money, which, hey, and again, prosperity comes in many, many, many forms. In many forms.
Currency is
And
currency.
Taurus loves food. Taurus loves money. Taurus, Venus, she loves pleasure. And so, yes, you want to bring pleasure in your life, and you want to feel bountiful as you're moving into these north nodes. But there's an aspect of it that teaches, and this is why Saturn is putting that play, which again, the temptations, because you know what, that Venus, oh, she's such a lustful one too, and so she's going to want to tempt you into what it is that you may want versus what it is that you need. And that's where needing to know what it is that your why are you doing what it is that you do? What is your purpose? What is, even if you don't, I don't give a fuck what I do, tarot, y'all know that, whatever. I like astrology. I don't give a fuck what tarot reader says your life path is such and such, what numerologist says your life path is such and such, what astrologer says your life path is such and such. What do you fucking feel in your soul is your life path, and focus on that. Get that
Right.
grounded into your reality, and do not get distracted by everything else that
Everything you
is
hear.
not initiating energy into that. That is what everything else is, the distraction, regardless of how pleasurable or smooth sailing it is. It's not always the path of least resistance. Everybody always talks about the path of least
In my
resistance,
case,
but
it
sometimes you got
rarely
to go through a
is.
fucking obstacle to get there. And once you get there, it feels so much better. Yo, easy come, easy go. But when you work for that shit, it's like gardening. Yo, you ever ate your own
And it
fruits? You
becomes
ever ate your own
imprinted.
food?
Yeah.
That shit tastes so much better than something. Yo, and I'm guilty of it. Yo, I buy pineapple at times because pineapple takes a long time, but I have pineapples growing, and when I eat my fucking pineapples, those are the best fucking pineapples in the whole fucking existence of life. Like, of
Oh, not the
life.
whole
I
existence.
don't care. I don't care how organic your farm is. It's not my farm, so
Ah,
it's better. It's the best. It's the best, and I love it. But it takes time.
it
It
does.
takes time to grow, and it takes watering, and it takes patience. And sometimes I get scratched up by the pineapple, and I'm like, and I could get distracted by the cut.
Right.
But if I allow myself to get distracted by the cut and say, I'm going to get this shit the fuck out because it just cut me, I don't even want it in my house,
Mm-mm.
am I going to meet my goal? Am I going to be able to receive the beautiful moments of pleasure and wholeness and completion because I allowed that distraction to tempt me into something else?
Right.
That's what's going on right now. These distractions they're
The
connected with
distractions are coming
temptation.
as a form of temptation. Like and it makes sense. Whoa. Yeah. It makes sense because the thing, I said it very short and sweet. I didn't want to put it in the last live I did, but I heard it and I couldn't get away from it. But right, the way things stand in this now moment, the temptation, it is so personal and it's quiet and it's always in the ear and it's right there with you. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go anywhere. People can sit in their homes and chit chat with people across the world,
Mm-hmm.
and they can have almost all their senses satisfied instantaneously and at the same time. and
Mm-hmm.
and you're stuck right there with a phone in your hand, and you're and you can't even say, like, if you were to pluck yourself out of it and give yourself the 5 whys, like, why am I doing this? 5 whys get to the root cause for for
It's
those of you who aren't.
body, my body is telling me
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, I spend a lot of time in solar plexus because personal will is my thing, and it goes right up to the heart box. But sacral chakra is what's being attacked right now. I fully believe it. It's sacral. It's right in there. Kind of root. It'll get your money in your home if that's the distraction that'll work best for you.
Fears, right?
But right now, it is all about relationships, i.e., sex, i.e., I have to have the other half. I feel like I'm missing something in that area. I want a woman, I want a man, or, I don't know about y'all, but when I scroll, I'm just like, really? Really? Wow. Like, and if this is the vibe and this is what you're being, coming across,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
distraction. Right?
Yeah, that's
You're
why I guess
looking
that's
for it.
why also, like, with Tantra, like, a lot of people, I was talking about Tantra and I put that post because Tantra is not just fucking sex magic. It's not just this, like,
Right.
People really just get everything is tantra all of a sudden if it got to do with sex. Oh, I practice semen retention. Oh, I know how to create manifestations with my orgasm and this, that, and the third. And like, but like through masturbation and like, hey, listen, I'm not telling you not to masturbate. I'm not telling you any of that. But like, sex is in the mind first, right? And so it's deeper than the physical sex or the lustful sex. Yo, I used to be one that literally watched porn every fucking day and this, that, and the third. I had to learn to transmute that energy in a way of like studying these fucking entities and beings when I do watch it, and like I would get turned off. Like I'm not even getting turned on anymore, whatever and stuff, and like working through like why addiction comes through, what stimulants are coming through, what energies, but also like is it really lust, or you know what's being, anyways, whatever. I don't want to derail too much, but going back into the tantra and the sacred sexuality, like sex being in the mind, it's more than it's because it's about your creative life force energy, and you know it's coming from a harmonious place of your higher chakras when it's for procreation, when and it doesn't necessarily mean procreation of a physical baby, but of your manifestations of, you know, that which is, it's not just your physical desires, but your soul's evolution, your soul's growth that meets and balances with the physical desires, which is why it's like, it's okay not to feel guilty to have human desires, but is it balanced with your soul's purpose, you know? And that is sacred sexuality. That is the sex that's in the mind first. And so if lust is the first sexual thing that you think of, then reevaluating what are you fucking with in your brain. You know, what are you fucking with? What conversations are you entertaining? What energies are you entertaining? Because that is not of your highest form. That is way lower dimensions. And it's okay to have sex. It's okay. Like, nothing is wrong with having sex. God created animals of different genders so that they can procreate. If sex was such a sin, why would Source do that,
But
right?
I don't.
Because it's not a sin. It's just like naked or nudity, right? Nudity doesn't have to be lustful, but God forbid I take off my shirt right now, which I'm finna do, right?
Oh, see, I knew it was happening.
Are are y'all gonna start getting lustful? Oh my God, look at her curves, her shoulders, this, that, and the third. Like, why is it any of y'all business? That's your perception. That is your lust. Like, it can be something else. Maybe I'm just unveiling, uncloaking, uncovering aspects of my life frequency that just wants to bring love and harmony and healing. And it took me a while to understand that.
Exactly.
You know what
No,
I'm saying? But distraction is lustful in every form. It is lustful. It's
you're.
it's
I
it's
hear you.
tempting. It's actually extracting you from your purpose, from your action, extracting you of your actions, the actions of your purpose. All right, the actions of what you intended it to
Right.
be. So bringing it back, calling your
Calling
power
your
back.
power.
That is the
Yes.
main thing I want to end this with. Like, not ending it right now, but just before it ends, like calling your power back at the end of the day,
Even
in the present moment, whatever, just calling that power back.
and even like because I I am careful having this particular conversation, spirituality and sexuality. I'm careful having that conversation because it's polarizing on a personal level before the person you're talking to or is able to communicate back to you. The first thing they're going to do is a self-assessment because everybody's so critical of themselves initially. And that self-assessment, you're going to come up with who you think you are. Oh, I'm a deviant. Oh, I'm a, and it's just like, whoa, slow your roll. You're a whole person. And depending on, chemically what's going on in your body, you may, that's going to hit your ears a certain kind of way. So just take the judgment off yourself. I mean, I was saying earlier, I've seen, because I'm always in nature, I've seen lots of animals having sex. None of them look conflicted. None of them seem to care that I was there. A couple of them got
Because
videotaped
they're
because,
not
I mean, the
distracted by
girl was
you. They
hanging
know their
from a
goals.
park bench. It was interesting. But, you know, like, if the animals aren't going to be weird about it, I'm not going to be weird about it. No, you know, and you should be able to talk about stuff like that. But I will say, if you find yourself in the lust place with it, if you're still there, you're on journey, you know, damn it, I know I'm on journey, but you're still in that place where you are giving a lot of your energy to the physical act of it, and it doesn't really go past that too much, and, you know, kind of like, you know, you're done and you're packing up and going on to the next, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's like that, I'm not, no, this isn't a judging thing. So that's not the kind of conversation we're going to have. All I'm going to say is, as good as you think that feels, my goodness, go deeper. Go deeper. I could care less what brought you to the table. I care that you enjoy your whole meal and you want to continue to show up for yourself and go further with it. Because sacred sex is a whole thing.
Yeah, and we don't want to get distracted into that right now, but it's just getting back into like source, into wholeness, and like
Right.
everything as a distraction. Alexander J. Fox says, release what no longer serves me. Back out, of course, distractions. Cool, right? Release. Can y'all still hear me?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Healed,
Release
sanctified,
what no
purified.
longer serves me. Back out into the universe, healed, sanctified, and purified. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Oh, I thank you for that. And he's such a beautiful healer as well. So I thank you for sharing space with us here as well. But yeah, going back to wholeness, you touched it like with that and completion. Like that is the whole thing right now, is to be in our whole awareness, you know, and you know,
To be
our control
open.
issues might be right. Our control issues might be triggered a little bit. And if you in a space where you're not fully aware, that's okay. You know, if
Absolutely.
you're in a space where you still get lustful, it's okay. Listen, I like looking at certain things too. Okay, it happens. I like eating certain foods when I
And
know
you've
I'm
got to
not
meet
supposed to be
yourself where
eating
you
them.
are. You've
Right,
got to meet yourself where you are. And
right.
this, because it's all about expansion and being the best version of yourself. You meet yourself where you are, and every day you show up for yourself, and you will go forward. That's, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when you go forward, I mean, it's just like any other coding. I will not go to the left when I'm coded to go forward. You know, I'm claiming the forward space. Now, when distraction comes, it's trying to claim that space. And you show up for yourself, you're intentional, I say you course correct. You know, you don't want to get pulled way off course with this thing. You want to make your course corrections smaller and smaller, especially every time you see the same type of stuff, because we're supposed to be learning and, you know, not making the same mistakes multiple times. Like, that's in general how you want to do. So yeah, you want your course corrections to be ever so slight, and eventually the goal, like my personal goal, how I set this up in my head 7 years ago, I will make my course corrections so slight that even I might not detect I made it. It's so subconscious that I might not even realize I did it until I go and reflect at night, you know? Um, and yeah, and this is all so many ways of saying reclaiming your power, all the different ways one reclaims their power.
Mm-hmm. What are, I guess, some of your final like thoughts? I don't know if that was it or whatever, but what would you want to leave the rest of us with before we end this live?
I'm like looking like, Big Chakra, what you want to say? Okay, this time is hard. It is designed to be hard. Yes, this is a test, and it's a multi-level, multi-dimensional. This is a test across the board, and wherever it is that you're lining up, as you show up for yourself, wherever it is, you know, the universe is using all of this for your good. So just realize that these tests, they're not happening to you. Again, they're happening for you. And all you really have to do is your level best effort at making decisions that align with what you say and what you do. At the end of the day, like, to make it, just try to make it simple. That's you showing up for yourself. But yes, you're not crazy. It's not just you. It's not just us. Regardless of where you are on journey, including not even consciously being on one, these attacks are very, very real. I laugh because they're ridiculous, but they're real. And everybody gets their flavor of test. And if you feel like you're getting the same test over and over, you probably are. Make different decisions. You definitely don't want to do the same thing over and over expecting a different outcome. That's not going to work. You want to change it up and try to get different outcomes. Same thing will give you the same result. So yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're saying over here. These distractions are real. They're real. They're by design to do exactly what they're doing, to distract you, to keep you away from what you know you should be doing. So don't let it. We say, claim your power. Look at it hard. Make it identify itself. You know, make it identify itself, because it has to.
Give it the accountability.
Yeah. And then you decide how you're going to respond. Take the power back. And practice that every day.
Thank you.
Well,
and I think
you came out right quick.
Yeah, I thank you for even taking time out of your day to even join me on the live, you know, with the channel messages and everything, like to touch on like the distractions. And you were really going through a lot of life with life in today, and like
life likes the life.
Yeah.
It's okay though.
And that exactly, that's the beautiful part about it, right? So just wanting to say thank you to everyone who tuned in and who's watching the replay. Just again, take back your power, go back your power, get in a space where just take some time to drink some water after this live and do some breathing exercises to breathe into your body, into your vessel, to ground your energy, integrate whatever information it is that you need to integrate, let go of whatever needs to be let go of, right? Whether that's through spitting and declaring a declaration of your power with, like, you know, spitting it out on the earth to release it, or stomping on the ground, or whatever it is to, you know, shake your body off, whatever it is that you need to shake off and release that's not yours. These are very healthy. I was also getting like EFT, I believe it's called, where I was specifically seeing this tapping and going like that, and I heard EFT. So if that's something you're into, perhaps, you know, working with that. I know I've talked about that before in the past with another sister, but that was just what was coming up right now. So those are just some examples that's coming through. Maybe some cord cutting for some of y'all.
General
But nonetheless,
saging in general.
Yeah. Yes. Just take a shower, you know, whatever modalities is going to connect you back to your own personal power. After this live, just kind of take time to rejuvenate yourself and get back to self, and then go back to whatever else it is that you need to get back to. So that way you could accomplish whatever goals you have for the night. I love you. I thank you.
Thank you.
And if you resonate with this, please share it out with others. And I'm also going to post this on YouTube. So if you need that link, you could just click on the link in my bio. It should be there. Jacqua, I'm going to put you as a collaborator
Thank
if
you,
you want.
darling.
Yes, yes. And everyone be sure that to follow her, okay? Shamanic Sage, this is my homie G. This is my sister. I love her so much, and she has so much wisdom and guidance as well. So, yeah, I just wanted to leave y'all all with that. I have nothing else to say, so I don't want to take up too much of your time just ranting. So until next time, peace, love, and harmony, and clarity for you to see what it is that you need to see.
Stay in
All
your
right,
power,
y'all.
y'all. Stay in your power.
Love you, Mom. I see you. Love you.